What's up, guys? It's Uncle Freedom. Now we're going to take a look at what some of this stuff actually means. So we're going to start with M in your March algorithm. M is massive hemorrhage. Massive hemorrhage will kill you in a matter of minutes, not hours, not days, minutes. That is one of those things that once it happens, you have to fix it. You have to fix it now. You have to make it stop. And nothing about how you're going to do it is going to be friendly or painless. Just get that out of the way. Get your head wrapped around that. Tourniquets are great. They hurt. They really hurt. Tourniquets hurt sometimes more than the injury does. If you have to pack a wound, it's going to hurt. They are going to invent new words to call you. They are going to cuss you out. They are going to just hate you and curse the ground you walked on. But they'll be alive to do those things. Here's the thing. If you're packing a wound and they're very calm and talking to you, they are either a fucking alien or a cyborg, or you're not doing it right. Just food for thought. Nobody's that stoic. Once you start sticking digits inside of things, this is your wound packer right here. Stick your finger in the hole. So let's start with the most simple version we have for massive hemorrhage, and that is the tourniquet. Tourniquets are awesome. They've come a long way. Now here's the deal. You will hear people that teach things mention that they could make that work. That is an indicator that if you do not have a high level of experience, you should not be attempting that. Because what they can do should not influence how you do something. Because that takes skills and experience and time doing it and stuff like that. I can make lots of really bad marginal medical equipment work. That doesn't mean that the marginal medical equipment is great. That just means I know how to make it work because I understand how the system works. Now, Prep Medic did a really cool thing where he talked about the Boston bombing, the Boston Marathon bombing. And at the Boston Marathon bombing, they were talking about how many badly improvised tourniquets they saw. If you're manufacturing a tourniquet, you have A, fucked up because you don't have a tourniquet, or B, the first one didn't work, that also happens, or C, they have shit wrong with two different limbs or there's more than one patient. You may have to manufacture a tourniquet. There are some things that work great for doing it, like a triangular bandage or a bandana or some tubular nylon webbing. Paracord is not one of those options that works, though. You're going to do lots of tissue damage and stuff like that. So we start talking about tourniquets. This is not an area that you just buy the cheapest thing you can find. Please, for the love of God, don't go on Amazon and buy the pack of 6 for like $24 because they're not real. They will break. And the time you figure out you got a fucked and wrong one, that you figure that out does not need to be while you're cranking it down on some poor bastard trying to save his life. So for me, there's two options I really, really like, and it's because I have a lot of experience with them. I'm an old stick in the mud. I don't have a lot of experience with some of the other ones that are out there, but I know these two, and I know them very well. The first one is the CAT, the North American Rescue Combat Applications Tournament. This thing is kind of the gold standard. It just works. This is by far the easiest solution for one-handed application. Now, why is one-handed application important? Well, if you're carrying an IFAC, it's an individual first aid kit, and it's meant to treat injuries on you. So you need to be able to stop a bleed in one of your own extremities. That means you need to be able to easily put on this tourniquet one-handed, because no matter what you think, if you take a bullet through this and it shatters this arm on the way through and you're pumping blood out, this fucking thing doesn't work anymore. You got to do it with this hand. So, CAT tourniquet. We'll go over staging one in a little bit because I've actually got a med kit we're going to rip apart. I got to tear apart. So CAT tourniquets work great. Make sure you buy a real CAT. There's a few places you can get real CATs from. You can get real CATs from like Dark Angel Medical and stuff like that. North American Rescue is a great option because they're the ones that make it. So the other one is from TacMed Solutions, and it's called the Soft T. Soft T is basically a seatbelt with a metal windlass on here, or if you're going to explain it to somebody, the layperson, take the strap, pull it tight, twist the stick until the bleeding stops. Simple. This is the newer gen of this guy, so I've got like the cool little clip here, so when I come over, this basically functions as a hold for me to get the tri-lock on it. That's all that's for. Now, the older version didn't have this on it, and if you were trained with specifically that version, you can take this part off. However, I will say that makes life a lot easier when you're trying to get it on, especially if you're having to do self-application. You can use this on yourself, but you can see how much looser this is compared to something that's a lot more rigid and Velcro. This works on like a glide system. Now, I will say, for putting it on another person, this is my favorite option. And one of the reasons it's my favorite option is, let's say you're in a vehicle and I've got your leg pinned somewhere, but you've got a massive arterial bleed from your femoral artery. I can unbuckle this one, saw it up under your leg, clip it back in, tighten it down, do it. Your initial pull on this guy should be tight. Like, it should be as tight as you can possibly get it, because you don't want to crank this 15 times. You want to crank it as little as possible to occlude blood flow. And it takes more pressure than you think to occlude blood flow. This is going to hurt the person you do it to. That's not your problem. They will get over it. You just need them to not die. Again, we are slowing down the clock. You did not fix a femoral bleed. This will have to be addressed, but it needs to be addressed by people with more medical training than you that have a environment in which they can solve all those problems. You can't, you're not going to. This slows the clock down, buys you time to get them to that next higher level of care to increase their chances of living through it. These are the only 2 tourniquets that I recommend. Like I said, I don't have enough personal experience, and there's not as much data on the rest of some of the, like the SAM and stuff like that. I'm sure they're good because SAM makes great stuff. This is an option of what you should not buy. This is known as the rat's tourniquet. This was all the rage when it came out, because you could use it on dogs and kids and stuff like that. So it's this cool rubber band, right? And the whole purpose behind this guy is, you're supposed to take it and you're supposed to stage it up. So you've got this guy here, and then you're supposed to put it on your arm, and you're supposed to get it up here, and then as you wrap, you're supposed to go around and make it wider. Here's the thing, here's the reality. This does a lot of soft tissue damage, and about the most useful thing this is for is circa spring break 1999. Yes, I'm old enough to remember that. Launching beers to the hot women in the pool. That is what this is for. That's what this is. This is not a tourniquet, this is a rubber band. Another option you can have in the world of tourniquet is the SWAT. Now, the SWAT stands for stretch, wrap, and tuck. And while the SWAT tourniquet does have some cool benefits, it's very small, very compact, makes it easy to carry in your day-to-day life. For self-application, this is an absolute freaking nightmare. I don't care what you think, and I don't care what your buddy told you. If you're pumping out blood and you're in a high-stress situation and you're dying, you are not going to get this on yourself with enough tension to stop the bleed. That said, this is functionally effective on dogs, kids, other people, people with tiny arms. These work. But they also serve a lot of other functions, as to function as another pressure bandage, or to make a sling or a swath, or hold down a splint. Like, the endless, super useful piece of equipment, which is why I have one. But it is not the most functional tourniquet that there is. Is it a tourniquet? It can be. Is this a tourniquet? Yes. Can this be a pressure bandage? No. So this can be a tourniquet, but it makes a better pressure bandage. So food for thought on that. Again, this thing, please don't buy this. No. And if your friend's got one of these, take it away and go buy them a real one. Or if they have a job, make them buy their own. So moving on to the rest of massive hemorrhage. What do we got there? Well, now we're talking quick clot, combat gauze. Kaido gauze, Celox. Like there's tons of different brand names for it. Basically what you're looking for is all of these things are essentially code for a hemostatic agent. And a hemostatic agent works by increasing the clotting factors through what's in the gauze inside of the body. This does not work really. I mean, there is a cascade effect that happens if you sit it on a wound. That is true. However, it is not nearly as effective as if you pack it. This is meant to be packed into a wound as close as you can possibly get, if not directly on the side of the bleed. This is going to hurt. They are not going to like you. They are going to scream, cuss, and try to get away. This is going to hurt. That is not your problem if you're saving their life. This is something that works. This is augmented very well by the use of more gauze, because the name of the game is pressure when we're stopping bleeding. So if I cram this in and I've got it way down in there and it's on there, and I have this much wound left at the top, I need to finish that off with more gauze. Keep pressing and packing into that wound until I get it all the way up there, and then finish it off with an emergency trauma dressing or an ACE bandage. Keep pressure on that so that that pressure stays constant, because you need to keep this in there for 3 to 5 minutes to actually get a good clot. It's literally on the instructions. Now, if you don't have this, but you have this, you can take a dirty t-shirt, a towel, a kitchen towel, your t-shirt, their t-shirt, I don't care. Anything that you can cram into that wound will work. Now, again, I mentioned this before. Somebody's going to be like, infection! You have to not die for infection to be a problem. Considering you will bleed out in a couple of minutes from a femoral hit, I would rather you be alive to be mad that you got an infection. We can treat infections. It's modern medicine. We have these things called antibiotics. They will fix your infection. However, antibiotics don't work if you're dead. So, cram whatever you got in there. But Quick Clot is an excellent force multiplier. It makes you way better at packing. It makes what you're packing is more effective because you've used this. But you can, if you can't afford this, because this stuff is expensive, you're looking $40, $50 for a thing of gauze, $2 for a thing of this. If you're good at packing and you've practiced, you can stop a bleed almost as well with normal gauze. You're never going to be as effective, but you can be damn close. Combine these two things with an ace wrap, a pressure bandage, a SWAT tee, and you've got an excellent way to keep pressure on a bleeder in a junctional site where you can't get to it with a tourniquet. This is also useful if you had one tourniquet and this is where you use the tourniquet was on the leg, but they've got a brachial bleed up here. You can pack that brachial bleed with Quick Clot that and a pressure wrap of some kind, and now you've effectively stopped the bleeding in two different places, or at least you've made a damn good effort, slowed that clock down. Again, that's the game. Slow that clock down. So there you go, guys. That's the March algorithm. That's the M part of March. Massive hemorrhage. The most important thing, and the thing you have to be able to respond to immediately, especially as gun people, is bleeding. And again, the infection thing. You had something that wasn't part of your body penetrate your body and has made a hole inside of you. The least of your concerns is what was on that fucking t-shirt I crammed into the hole in your body. Because if I don't do that, you won't be alive to be pissed off about the infection you got because I crammed a t-shirt into the hole in your body. Now, here's the thing. If you're in somebody's house and the sock sticks straight out, probably don't use that. It needs to at least be malleable to get into the hole. So, guys, there you go. Massive hemorrhage. Next up, we'll look at airway. It'll be a short video. And might even combine a couple of parts of this one into the next one. So, guys, I'm Uncle Freedom. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Like and subscribe. Do all that cool shit. Tell a friend. We'll see if we can grow this channel. Who knows? Maybe eventually I'll get a camera and something behind me so you're not staring at the inside of my basement and random stuff. So, guys, take care of each other. I'm out.